Is it audible, guys? 5D2. Are you able
Yes,
to hear me?
yes, sir.
Okay. So in this session, I'm going to start with a new topic called as exceptions, exception handling. So it is the third part of the second unit. What's the topic about? Exception handling. What's the concept name, guys?
Exception handling.
Exception handling.
Sir, excuse me.
Yeah, you can ask.
So we are doing one program in the last session, so it was not done successfully.
See, that will be continued in the next session.
Okay, sir.
Next session, in the sense, in the extra session, I will discuss about files concept. Okay.
It's okay, sir.
That means you can expect in the afternoon session.
Yeah, sir. Okay. Sir, programs related to files, sir. Any programs?
Sorry.
Programs related to files we have not discussed, no, sir. I mean, some
See, we discussed about files concept only. So
yeah,
we discussed
sir.
programs upon files only.
Large programs, sir.
Sorry.
Large programs, sir. I mean, some complexity included programs.
Okay. So we will discuss in the afternoon session. Don't worry about that. Okay. So in this session, in the morning session, I will start with a new topic. Okay. So
Okay,
today's
sir.
session, I will discuss about exception handling. So it's a fresh topic of second unit. So third part of second unit, second module, third part. So concept of exception handling. It is important topic, guys. Please focus properly. Are you able to see the notepad?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what do you mean by an error? Error is nothing but what? Deviation from the originality is called as an error. Deviation from the originality is called as what? An error. So errors are broadly classified into two types. Errors are broadly classified into two types. So first one in the form of syntax errors. Second one in the form of what? Runtime errors. Syntax errors and runtime errors. What do you mean by syntax? Anyone respond? What is syntax?
These
Set of
errors occur due
rules.
to not following proper syntax of the program.
I'm asking about syntax. I'm not asking about syntax errors. What do you mean by syntax?
The rules to be followed while writing a
Rules
program.
and regulations to be followed.
Rules and regulations.
Right.
So set of
Right.
rules and regulations, right?
Yes,
So
sir.
set of rules and regulations. Set of rules and regulations. Set of rules and regulations of a programming language. Programming language is called as what?
Syntax.
Called as syntax. Okay. So set of rules and regulations of a programming language is called as what? Syntax. So if this set of rules are, please mute yourself when you are speaking with your family members, guys. Please do not disturb the class. Okay. So if you are interested in speaking with your family members, you can speak. But the thing is, you have to mute yourself. Okay. So set of rules and regulations of a programming language is called as what? Syntax. So every language has what? Every language is having grammar. Suppose if I want to speak, if I want to know about Telugu language, okay, Telugu has its own grammar. So if I know the grammar of Telugu, so I can speak it very clearly without any kind of ambiguity or without any kind of confusion. So I can speak in Telugu language clearly once I know the grammar of the Telugu language. So if I know the grammar of English, then I can speak English language very fluently. So without any kind of confusions, without any kind of mistakes, I can deliver the things in English. So every language has its own set of rules and regulations. So every language has its own grammar or not?
Yeah,
So to
sir.
know
Yes,
about
sir.
the language, so what do we need? We need grammar. Grammar of that particular language has to be known by the user, such that he or she can communicate in that concerned language. Okay, in that concerned language, he can fluently speak about Telugu, or he can fluently speak in English. So once he or she knows about what the grammar of the language, so he or she can communicate in easy manner, so fluently. So set of similar way, programming language is also having what rules and regulations. So this set of rules and regulations, so which we call it as grammar of the programming language is called as what? It is called as the syntax. Is it clear, guys?
Yeah, sir.
So
Yes, sir.
everyone must know about what? The syntax of the programming language. So this particular syntax of the programming language will vary from one language to another language. Means what? From one programming language to another programming language, the syntaxes will be varying. So if the programmers are not following the syntax of the programming language properly, then it leads to what?
Invalid syntax error.
Syntax errors.
Kind of errors. It leads to syntax errors. Okay, so when you Python programmers are not following the syntax of the Python programming language, what it leads to? It leads to syntax errors. Syntax errors, set of rules and regulations. So this set of rules and regulations of the programming language has to be followed by the programmer mandatorily. It is mandatory to follow the rules and regulations of the programming language. Grammar must be followed at any cost. Okay, at any cost, programmer has to follow the syntax rules, so has to be followed. Suppose if I am writing like this, so I am writing print space hi. I want to display hi onto the output screen. Okay, I want to display hi onto the output screen. So this is the example I'm giving for the syntax in Python, sorry, syntactical errors or syntax errors in Python programming language. So if you observe here, so what I have written, print space hi is written. So what's the mistake, guys? So if I'm executing this particular program, what it leads to?
Syntax error.
Syntax error. So let us check whether we are seeing any kind of error in the program execution or not. So go to the ideally and you execute the program. Okay, so it shows syntax error. New file. So here I'm typing the code. Okay, so print hi. I'm saving the code, guys. So save as. So I'm storing into desktop Python CSCC. In CSCC, I will create one folder called as exceptions. Okay, exceptions. Okay, exceptions is the folder name. So now exceptions will become what? Our working directory or not?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, sir.
Reason? Because the code related to exception handling is discussed in this particular folder. So because of that reason, exceptions will become the working folder or working directory. So it is an example for syntax error. Okay, syntax error example 1 not right. So when you run the program, what happens? See here what it is showing?
Syntax error.
Error.
So are you seeing the dialog box title? So see
Yes,
here,
Yes.
title it is showing as syntax
Parentheses
error,
are missing.
missing parentheses in call to print. See here, the braces were missing, circular braces were missing. So these circular braces are mandatory or not?
Yeah,
sir.
sir.
So it is mandatory in Python 3.x, not in Python 2.x. Okay, so this particular syntax is valid in working with Python 2.x sort of versions, not in Python 3.x. Right now we were using which kind of version, guys? 3.x or 2.x?
3.x.
3.x. So we were using 3.x versions of Python. Okay, we were not using Python 2.x. When you work with Python 2.x, so this syntax is acceptable. It is a valid one. So this particular statement is valid in which version of Python programming language, guys?
2.x.
Python 2.x, it is acceptable. But when we are running in Python 3.x, so because of lagging this kind of braces here, circular braces, so what it is leading to?
Syntax error.
Syntax error. So when I rectify this one, what happens?
We need to save. No syntax error will occur.
No syntax error will occur. Now let us consider the second example for the syntax error. Okay, so let us consider A equal to 10, B equal to 30. I'm taking two variables, guys. First variable in the form of A, second variable in the form of B. A is assigned with 10, B is assigned with 30. Then I'm writing an if statement. Okay, if A greater than B, then after I'm giving one tab space, and after that I'm writing A comma is greater than else colon print of B comma is greater. So it is written as like this, guys. So are you seeing the logic, guys?
Yeah,
Yes.
sir.
So can you notice any kind of mistake in the logic?
Yes.
Colon,
Sir.
sir.
So what's the
Colon.
mistake, guys?
No.
Colon.
Colons.
So where it is missed?
After if statement.
After specifying condition. So here we are missing the colon. So I have done it wantedly.
No, sir.
Okay. So I have done it wantedly to make you notice about what?
Syntax error.
Syntax error. Save as error example dot
PY.
run the program. See here. What it is showing?
Invalid syntax.
Syntax error. Are you seeing the dialog box?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So syntax error. It is raising an error. So what kind of error? Syntax error?
Yeah, sir. Syntax error.
Syntax error. So now I will make modifications in this code. So here I'm keeping the colon. Now I am removing colon after the else keyword and then saving the code, guys. Save as syntax error example 3 dot py. Now when I'm executing the program, what happens here?
Syntax error.
Again, it shows what? Syntax error, invalid syntax. So these errors are rising because of what reason?
Syntax.
Programmer is not following the rules of the programming language, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
So
sir.
these errors are raised because of what reason? Because the grammar which is there with the programming language is not followed by the programmer while writing the logic. So because of that reason, so these kind of errors are raised. So these type of errors are called as what? Syntax errors. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Now,
sir.
I will keep colon here. Okay, I will keep colon. Now, as part of the print statement, now I am going to remove this comma. Okay, now I am removing this comma from this program. So I'm giving the name of the program as error example 1. Error example 1 dot py. Okay, then run the program. I expect execution of this program, guys.
Yeah, sir.
Please
No,
respond.
No, sir.
no, sir.
No,
Let
sir.
us run the program, guys. It will work. See here. What happened? What did he show
Not
you?
displaying the value of B, sir.
But program is executed or not?
Yeah,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Are we
Yes.
facing any kind of syntax issues here?
No,
No,
sir.
So issue is with what?
No.
Issue is
Logic.
with the logic. So can I consider it as a logical error?
Yeah, sir.
Yes, sir.
Can I consider this example under logical error?
Yeah,
Yes.
sir.
Please respond.
Yes, sir.
Actually, what I'm expecting, I'm expecting the value. So first of all, it has to display the value which is greater among the two numbers, followed by the message called as is greater. So that thing I'm expecting from the program execution. But unfortunately, so as if here, the comma is missed in the print function, print in the print statement. So as programmer has missed this particular comma operator between these values. Okay. So what happened here? Program has been executed, but is it displaying the output according to the program execution? Of course,
No, sir.
output is displayed according to the program execution. But is it the output which I am expecting?
No,
No,
sir.
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 We are not expecting this kind of output, right? So problem is what? So here comma is missing. It is not a syntactical mistake, but it is what? It is a logical thing. So logical error, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
So
sir.
this
sir.
happened during the time of execution or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
So
sir.
can I consider it as runtime error?
Yeah, sir.
Yes,
So
sir.
under runtime errors, can I consider logical errors?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Logical errors will fall into the category of
Runtime.
Time errors.
runtime. Sorry,
Runtime error.
Runtime errors. Now, coming to the concept of exceptions. Okay, so it is one kind of runtime error, guys. Exceptions are coming into the category of what?
Runtime errors.
Runtime errors. So these errors are occurred during the time of execution. So runtime errors. So when I'm saying about compile time errors are nothing but what? Syntax errors are not. Please respond.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Can I call them as compile time errors?
Sir?
Sorry. Any doubt?
No, sir. You have raised a question also once again.
See, the runtime errors are nothing but what? These errors are occurred during the time of execution. Okay. So
Yes.
when it is syntax errors, simply the syntax will be verified whether the code is following proper rules and regulations of the programming language or not. So those kind of errors are considered into the category of syntax errors. Okay, so this exceptions concept is called as what? It is one kind of
Runtime errors.
runtime errors. So exceptions are one kind of runtime errors. I'm saying what? Exceptions are called as what? Runtime errors. One kind of runtime errors means what? They can be called as runtime errors or not? Of course, they can be
Yes,
called
sir.
as runtime errors because these errors are occurring during the time of execution of the program. Is it clear?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Now let us discuss about runtime errors. That means it's regarding what? Exceptions concept. So what sort of things can be considered under the exceptions? Let us discuss about this particular concept called as exceptions. Okay, so please focus properly, guys. It is very, 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 very important because this particular concept can be seen even in Java programming language. Okay, so if you listen to this particular concept carefully in Python, it becomes easy for you people to learn in Java programming language because concept will not be varied. Only thing is what? Its representation will be varying. Is it okay for you people?
Yes, sir.
Okay, sir.
So please
Yes, sir.
focus properly. Okay, it is very, 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 very important. Okay, so let us consider one example, guys. Example for this particular concept of exceptions. So here I'm going to perform arithmetic division operation upon the two numbers. What's the requirement, guys?
Two numbers. We need to
Operation.
read from the input.
Sorry,
Arithmetic and division.
arithmetic division operation upon the two numbers. So that is my requirement. So when it is arithmetic division operation, so how many inputs are needed here?
Two.
Two
Two
input.
inputs are needed. Now, can you tell me the logic for reading values into the A and B variables respectively?
Int of input of enter and
Int
Input.
of
input.
how we are reading with the help of input function, right? So can I consider int as a input function?
No, sir. It is typecasting function.
Typecasting function or type conversion function. Okay. So input. So give the message. Enter number. And read the second value. So b equal to int of
Input.
Input.
then after I'm writing c equal to a by b. Okay. And print of c.
C.
I'm writing like this. Are you understanding the code, guys? It's a simple
Yes, sir.
code, right? So simple code for performing what? Arithmetic division operation upon the two numbers, right? So this particular statement is going to do what? It is going to ask for an input from the end user. So whatever value is given by the end user is converted into integer data type and is stored into the A variable. Then when it executes the second statement, what happens? It reads the input from the end user, reads the number, and it is converted into integer data type and is stored into the B variable. Then control comes to the next statement, C equal to A by B. So it is an assignment statement. So when it is an assignment statement, RHS part will be executed first. So it's a expression. So expression has to be evaluated. Now, so these values which were read from the end user. So on those two numbers, division operation will be performed and the result has to be stored into the C variable and it has to display what? The C content onto the output string. So is the code clear, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Copy this code and paste it into the IDE, guys. So even you can type the code directly into the IDE, but why I'm copying the code from the notepad to this IDE?
for our notes,
Sorry,
to provide notes for us, sir.
not for the sake of notes, guys.
Syntax.
To syntax.
To remember syntax.
To remember the syntax. So when I'm typing in the notepad editor, is it going to give the spaces automatically?
No,
No,
sir.
sir.
So I have to
Not
remember or not? So as a
Yes, sir.
programmer, I have to remember each and every rule of the Python programming language or not?
Yes, sir.
So to remember the syntax, I am typing here. So that's the reason why I'm typing in the notepad editor. Okay. So it is,
Yes, sir.
it mandatory, guys?
No,
Is it
sir.
mandatory to type the code in notepad
No,
editor and copy into the ID and
No,
from
sir.
there you have to run the program? No, it is not mandatory. Directly you can
No.
type the code in the ID itself. Okay, so save the code, guys. So this particular example is related to the exceptions concept, guys. So here I'm giving the name of the program as exception example 1. Okay, exception example 1.py. So why I am saying it as exception? So let us run the program, then you will understand the code. Okay, so run the program, guys. Now what it is showing? What it is showing?
Enter a number.
Enter a number. Now I am giving the first value as 10. Okay, I'm giving the values, guys. I'm giving the value as 10. Now what happens is 10 will be converted into, actually the value which is supplied by the end user is read in the form of string or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So this 10 will be converted into integer data type and stored into the a variable.
A variable.
Then now after pressing enter, again it is asking for the input. Now I am giving 2. What's the result, guys?
5.
5 is the result. So does the program has executed successfully?
Yes, sir.
So total program,
Yes, sir.
total logic has been executed successfully or not?
Yes, sir.
So total program has been executed successfully. Now you run the program for one more time, guys. Run the code for one more time. Now it is asking for the values. Okay, now give the values as 10. Now I'm giving the second value in the form of 0. What is the second value, guys?
0.
0. So what is 10 by 0?
0.
Huh?
Infinity.
10 by 0
Infinity.
is what? It's not 0. What's the value, guys?
Infinity, sir.
Infinity. So undefined value. So can you reprint the value of infinity?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Please respond.
No, sir.
Now, sorry, can you reprint infinity?
No, sir.
Someone has said yes. I don't know the value of infinity, guys. Okay.
No, sir.
So 10 by 0 is what? It is infinity. Now our Python virtual machine, who is responsible in executing the code, has entered into the state of what? Ambiguity, confused state. So because of which statement, guys? Because of this particular statement called as A by B, as A value is 10 and B value is 0. So when it is executing this particular expression, when it is executing this particular statement, so our Python virtual machine, who is executing the code? PVM or not?
Yes, sir.
Python virtual machine is executing the code or not? When you are
Yes,
executing the program, so who is responsible?
Yes, sir.
Python virtual machine is responsible or not?
Yes, sir.
So this Python virtual machine is executing this particular statement in the program. Okay, when it is executing this particular code, guys, what happened here? C equal to A by B. So 10 by 0 is what? Infinity. Now our Python virtual machine has entered into the state of confusion. So it doesn't know the value of infinity. So how it can assign infinity value to the C variable? Are you understanding?
Yes, sir.
Are you following or not?
Sir. Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Are you understanding my intention?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So what happened
Yes,
here?
sir.
While at the time of executing this particular
It leads to
statement,
error.
our Python virtual machine has entered into the state of confusion, ambiguity, or dilemma state. It doesn't know how to assign this infinite value to the C variable. Okay. What it has to do, it doesn't know. So when this kind of situation arises to the Python virtual machine, so when this situation is not handled by the programmer, when this kind of situation is not handled by the programmer, then the statement or statements which are available after this kind of statement, which is leading to the confusion state of the Python virtual machine, the rest of the logic is not going to be executed. Okay. So
Yes, sir.
here it raises a runtime error, which is called as ambiguity. So which is called as what? Exception. What it is called as?
Exception.
Exception. So when I'm giving normal values other than 0, So does the program has executed successfully or not?
Yes, sir.
So it is this kind of issues. That means the moment when user is giving 0 value for the B variable, only in such a situation we are facing this kind of error, isn't it?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
It is bringing the Python virtual machine into the ambiguity state. Okay, into the ambiguity state, into the confused state. So such kind of situations, if such kind of situations are not handled properly, so what we are seeing, so program has been executed without executing the rest of the logic or not.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
So can I call it as abnormal termination?
Yes, sir.
Can I call it as abnormal termination or not? So without executing the code completely, it is terminating the program. Means what? It is abnormal or not?
Yes, sir.
So
Abnormal,
it is
sir.
called as abnormal termination. So when you can see such kind of situation while during the execution of a program, so that's kind of concept. That means the statement which is responsible in making the Python virtual machine to enter into the state of confusion or ambiguity or dilemma. So when it enters into the dilemma state or confusion state or ambiguity state, it creates an exception object in the Python programming language. What it creates?
Error.
Error. Of course, it is called exception is called
Yes,
as an
sir.
error, guys. But be specific. Don't call it as an error. Be specific. When you say it as error, it becomes generic.
Runtime error.
So it is called as exception. So we should call it as what?
Exception.
Exception. It is called as an exception. So whenever Python virtual machine is entering into the state of confusion, so it is there we are seeing what? An exception. There we are seeing an exception. So when such kind of exception is occurring in the execution of the program, if that exception is not handled properly, what happens? Rest of the code is not going to be executed. So abnormal termination is seen. Is it clear, guys?
Yes, sir.
So run the program, guys. Go to the code. Sorry, go to the code. Shell window. Now I am pressing enter. See here. What happened?
Zero division error. Zero division by
Zero division error. So this is called as exception, guys. This is the exception name. Or the exception name?
Zero division error.
Zero division error is the exception name. So because of this kind of confusion occurred with the Python virtual machine, that means it doesn't know how to assign this infinite value to this particular C variable when it is divided with 0. So it has created an exception object called as what? Zero division error. So are we handling this object? See here. So when it is handled means rest of the code will be executed. But are we seeing the output of this particular statement?
No, sir.
So rest of the code is executed or not?
Yes, sir.
No.
Rest of the code is not executed. So abnormal termination is seen or not?
Yes,
sir.
Are you understanding, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now let us see the next example. Next example for the exception. So here we have seen which kind of exception?
Zero division.
error.
What's the name of the
Zero
exception,
division
guys?
error.
Zero division error.
Zero division exception. Zero division error is the name of the exception occurred in this particular program. Now consider the same code once again. Now I am running the program. Okay. Running the program, guys. Run the program. Now it is asking for the inputs. Are you seeing the shell?
Yes, sir.
So I'm giving the first value in the form of 10. Now this 10 is converted into integer data type and is stored into the A variable. No issues with the first statement. Now it is asking for the second value. Now I'm giving the second value as SECON. I'm doing, guys. What's the value?
Second.
Second. Number?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Sequence of characters I have given. Isn't it?
Yes,
Yes.
So I have given a string. Now, what happens with the statement? See the code, guys. I'm converting into
string into int type.
string into integer
Int
data type. Is it possible?
No, sir.
Now,
sir.
our Python virtual machine enters into the confused state. So it doesn't know how to convert this second, which is having sequence of characters, into the number data type. It doesn't know how to convert this particular value into integer data type. Now, is it entering into the confused state or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So when it enters into the confused state, when it is not handled properly, what happens?
Exception will be raised.
Exception will be raised. And what happens? Can we see execution of the program?
No, sir.
Can we see rest of the program execution?
No, sir.
So what happens? Abnormal termination is seen or not?
Yes, sir.
Press enter. See here what it is showing.
Value error.
Value error. So what's the name of the exception, guys?
Value error.
Value error.
Name of the exception is
Value error.
value
Error.
value error. So it is one kind of exception. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Are you following, guys? Are you understanding the differences?
Yes,
Differences
sir.
between the syntax
Yes, sir.
error, logical error, exceptions. Please respond, guys.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now let us check with the another example for exception. Okay. Now I'm taking one more example, guys. Okay. So here I'm writing f equal to open, x equal to f equal to open. So here I'm writing xyz dot txt. xyz dot txt. So it's the name of the file. Okay. Then data equal to f dot read. Data equal to f dot read. Then print of data. What I am doing, guys? Can anyone respond?
You're trying to open the xyz.txt file and you are trying to read the data and print the same.
Okay. So in which mode I am opening the file?
Read mode, sir.
Read
By
mode.
default.
Read mode by default. That's it. Super.
Yes.
So or else you can mention in the read mode. Okay. Now I'm saving this code on the current working directory. So in exceptions folder, I'm storing. Okay. So exception example2.py. Okay. Save the code. Now go to exceptions folder. That means go to the working directory. Exceptions folder. Are you seeing the exceptions folder?
Yes, sir.
So are you able to see the xyz.txt file?
No, sir.
Is it available in the current working directory?
No, sir.
Now I'm
No.
copying this code into the ID and I will run the program. See what happens. So where is the code, guys?
Sir, you have written in ID.
So I have written the code in ID itself. Okay, no issues. Where is the code? This is the code, right?
Yeah, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we have saved the logic. Now run the program, guys. What it shows?
Exception.
So the moment when it executes the first statement itself, our Python virtual machine will enter into the
Mode of ambiguity. State of
mode
ambiguity.
state of ambiguity, or state of confusion state, or state of dilemma. So when such kind of situation is seen with the Python virtual machine, what it does, it creates an exception or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So when it is creating an exception, so when it is not handled properly, can we expect rest of the program execution?
No, sir.
Yes,
So
sir.
what we are seeing, so resulting in
Exception.
abnormal termination.
Abnormal termination.
So
Termination.
abnormal termination is a desirable situation or undesirable situation?
Undesirable situation.
Undesirable situation. Run the program. It shows what?
File not found.
So what is this?
File no exception name, sir.
Exception name is file not found.
File not
error.
found.
Are we seeing the rest of the program execution?
No,
No,
sir.
So resulting in
File not found error exception.
okay. So what's the result?
Abnormal termination.
Abnormal
termination.
termination.
So what we have to do? So these exceptions has to be handled properly by the programmers or not?
Yes, sir.
Sir.
Please be careful when you are writing the logic. So you should analyze the code properly. So what sort of situations might occur when you are executing the program? That means when end user is executing the program, what sort of situations can be created? You have to analyze about them. Okay. So and based upon that, you have to handle the situations. So when Python virtual machine is entering into the state of confusion, so are we bringing the Python virtual machine back to the normal state?
No, sir.
So here we don't have such kind of code to bring back the Python virtual machine to the normal state, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So if you are writing such kind of code, or the code which is responsible in bringing back the Python virtual machine to the normal state, okay, into the normal track. So such kind of thing is the concept of what? Exception handling. Are you understanding the term?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Sir. Sure.
Yeah, you can ask. If you are having any kind of doubts, you can ask me. No issues with that. So I'm copying the things in the shell. If I'm giving the values as follows, then what happened? So if I'm giving 10 and 0, so 0 division by 0. So this is the message, guys. Division by 0 is the message. What's the exception name?
Zero
Division
division.
error.
0 division error.
Zero division.
Now, for the same example, we have seen value error, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So see here. So this value error is what?
Giving second as an input.
Exception.
Exception name of the exception. Okay,
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
sir.
is it clear, guys?
Yes.
Are you following?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Are you
Yes,
understanding the
sir.
differences between the normal errors, that means the syntax errors, logical errors, and then this particular concept of these exceptions?
Yes, sir.
Sir.
So these errors are occurring during the time of execution or not?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
So runtime error or not? It is one kind of runtime error or not?
Yes, sir.
So how exception is represented in Python programming language? So exception is represented in terms of a class in Python programming language. Same thing happens in C programming. So not C, it happens in Java programming language. It happens in C#.NET programming language. It happens in VB.NET programming language. So how exceptions are represented in Java, Python, and C#.NET?
Glass.
Classes, class. So what is a class? So that thing we are going to discuss in the 4th unit. So in 4th unit, you are having object oriented concepts. So as part of that unit, so we will discuss about what do you mean by class. So in object oriented terminologies, you are going to see object oriented concepts. You are going to see about the concept of classes. It is mandatory concept. There as part of that, I will discuss about the concept of class. Okay. So value error. It is what? It is a exception class. What it is?
Exception name.
class.
Exception name. So it is an exception class, one kind of exception, isn't it?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
One kind of exception. Zero division error is one kind of exception or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So assume for this particular example, if xyz.txt is not available, are we seeing an error or not?
Yes, sir.
File not found error.
File not found. Error is what?
Exception name.
Exception name. Is an exception class or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
It can be considered as an exception class.
Okay, this file not found error. So this file not found error is the name of the exception. So in
Exception.
the afternoon session, so we will continue with the files concept. Okay. So again in the tomorrow's morning session, we will discuss about what?
Exception handling.
Exception.
Exceptions. We will discuss about exceptions in the morning sessions. In the afternoon session, we will discuss about what? The files concept. So in the afternoon session at 2:15 p.m., we will discuss about files. Okay. Is it clear, guys?
Sir,
Yes,
is
sir.
the files is a lengthy topic, sir?
లెంతీ అంటే ఎక్కడ దాకా డిస్కస్ చేయాలనుకుంటే అంత మటుకు డిస్కస్ చేయొచ్చమ్మా. నేనేంటిది ఇప్పుడున్న టైం పాయింట్ ఆఫ్ వ్యూలో దాన్ని బట్టి నేను డెలివర్ చేస్తున్నాను. సో ఫైల్స్ లోనే అని అంటే ఇంకా లోపలికి ఎంత డెప్త్ లో మీరు ఏంటి నెంబర్ ఆఫ్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్స్ పెంచుకోవాలనుకుంటే అంత డెప్త్ లో పెంచుకోవచ్చు. కానీ ఇప్పుడు టైం అనేది లేదమ్మా, టైం అనేది లేదు. ఉన్న కాడికి నేను మాక్సిమం చెప్తున్నాను, మీకు ఇంకా ఎక్స్ట్రా అవర్స్ తీసుకొని మరి చెప్తున్నాను.
Okay,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Thank you, sir, for that.
ఇప్పుడు డిస్కస్ చేసిన దాకా ఏమైనా డౌట్స్ ఏమైనా ఉంటే అడగొచ్చమ్మా, ప్రాబ్లం లేదు.
No, sir.
Please respond, guys. If you are having any kind of doubts, please feel free to ask any kind of doubts related to the subject.
No doubt, sir.
No doubt, sir.
So
No
thank
doubt.
you, everyone.